All right, Donnie, you ready?
Let's go.
It's time for Donnie's Week in Rage. It's time for Donny Fandango's, and it's been a while, his Week in Rage.
All right. Well, first and foremost, and I'm not sure why, I don't really seem to do well with dudes named Shane and Travis, which is cool because that sounds like names that you give your kids that you're really not going to like later on in life. So I'm not going to read your comments when you go to the post on the Points website or whatever. I'm not going to look at them. So let it out however you need to, but I ain't going to see it. Also, a big shout out to all those that said that they were never going to listen to me again. My ratings are exceptional on both radio stations. Also,
and he gave the finger, by the way.
100%. Why do you guys? This is a question for the room outside of Riz. All right. Okay. Why do you guys act so surprised at the very end of the show, after the Pappy's recapping, when he asks you guys what you have going on?
Right.
You guys are always like taken aback, like he doesn't ask you every single day. You all have 12 things going on. You know when it's going to be. Spit it out. We want to know. He's legitimately, Riz is there begging. He's begging. All right, guys, we're getting out of here.
The floor is yours.
What do you got? One more thing. And then it's like you guys freeze. Just get it together and spit it out. In the history of my life in radio, I have never seen a group of listeners complain like KC95 listeners. Go read a thread from that station, and it feels like people are listening just so they have reasons to bitch. Crazy idea. You don't like what they're doing. You don't like what we're doing. You don't like what anybody's doing. Just don't friggin' listen. It's a lot easier on everybody else. This isn't new, but I hate, and I mean I hate, with every fiber of my soul, virtually every major record label out there. If I had a kid in a band, I think I'd try to navigate that world without the major label system. It's a complete joke for 75 friggin' reasons, and I could do a Week in Rage just on those greasy bastards. I have a basement office, all right? So I've got this basement office. It's my sanctuary. It's where my records are, where my record player is, my baseball, all of it is down there, all right? So a number of years ago, I had the good fortune to meet Lee Smith, Hall of Famer, former Cardinal. You, man, had him in studio at KC. So, man, I had a baseball in my car, ran out and got it, ran and got him to sign it. So I have it right in front of my TV in one of those little plastic baseball boxes. Well, Mary had moved some stuff down to my office because she was running out of room in the house. And I come down to the office the other day, and there is a potted plant on my Lee Smith autographed baseball case. Honey, baby, Mary, I love you very, very, very much, but it's an autographed baseball in a case. I would think that alone would go, hey, maybe the potted plant doesn't need to go here. Please move the plant, honey bunny. That's all I've asked. Here's something very serious. Not really serious. A mother effing concert ticket shouldn't cost the same as my goddamn car payment, all right? I see folks buying tickets to see Taylor Swift, spending a couple of grand on 4 tickets, a couple of grand for tickets to a show. I understand it's not 1994. We're not paying $20 anymore, but there's got to be some kind of middle ground. And also those ticketing fees, a total joke. Let's just combine them all under one header and call them extra fees that you can't do anything about fees, because that's all that it is. I don't need it itemized. I see it. It's the screw you fee, and something has got to be done, because if it's not, then people are not going to be able to afford to see live shows. And being able to see a live show for a decent price is how I became a huge, gigantic music nerd. And there's no way, if tickets were crazy expensive, that I would have ever gotten to see half the bands that I got to see. So we have got to figure out a common ground here. No sports betting in Missouri? Cool. I'm glad. I know we don't need the money for anything. Makes total sense. Bumper stickers with small print. What are you doing? So I have to get super close to you to even read what it is that you're trying to represent? It seems to completely defeat the purpose of the bumper sticker and the point in which that you're trying to make. Speaking of driving, if you, and I am honest to Christ, dead serious about, if you tailgate people or you think that the passing lane is for going 100 miles an hour, you're an effing idiot. I'm serious. You are an absolute stooge. I hate your guts. And I'm serious, and I know that this is not going to change anybody and that you're going to still be laughing when you get in your big dumb truck later. But not only are you putting your dumb self at risk, but you're putting me at risk too. And you know what? I'm just trying to get home to watch the Cardinal game, all right? And to not be mad about you. So why don't you slow down and not be a jackass? And also, the big tire trucks look absolutely ridiculous. Also, let's see where we go here. A big shout out. All right, hold on here. This is what really kind of sort of got the rage percolating. And this happened on Saturday. So a big shout out, and we all have these in our jobs somewhere, to people that take the little tiny bits of power that they have and they use it to make other people miserable. I got dressed down twice on Saturday about a group of goddamn posters and about questions for an interview. First and foremost, from here on out, unless you are goddamn Bruce Springsteen or Eddie Vedder, if you ask me for your questions in advance, I'm going to say, I don't have them, and we're going to take it by the seat of our pants. There is no artist that we play besides maybe the Foo Fighters that have the right to ask us for the questions in advance. Who do you freaking think that you are? What do you think that we are going to ask? What kind of got you question do you think that there is out there? It's not. It's you just having to have that little bit of power and just make something of it. So I just want to give a massive, massive shout out. We realize as a radio station that the routines for these bands are a big deal. We understand that they get asked for things all of the time. That's why we don't ask for very much. Everything we ask, we give directly away. I'm not asking for anything extra. Moon's not asking for anything. Nobody is backstage asking any band for anything, like at all. So the simple fact that these idiots think that we're trying to get something from them, I absolutely hate it. So I want to give a massive shout out to the camps for Coheed, The Pretty Reckless, Bad Omens, Bandmade, Tiger Cub, Des Rocks, and their crews for being absolutely fantastic. It's really a bummer when someone chooses to whiz all over somebody else's day simply because they can. Each Point Fest, there's always one that stinks to deal with. I used to think it was always the band that didn't know that their people behaved poorly. I'm not so sure that I believe that anymore. Also, just while we're on it, if your idea of taking a meet and greet picture with your fans is standing 3 feet behind them, behind a barrier, I don't think that that's a particularly cool meet and greet and nothing at all in which that I would pay for. Also, real quick, big shout out and a big sorry to Randy, who works at the amphitheater. He's also the guy that bought Jeff's bike. I saw him in catering on Saturday and thought of Jeff and that bike, and holy smokes, I got way too emotional with somebody that I barely know, but it was thinking about Jeff on that bike, and the last time that I saw Jeff was when Randy came to buy the bike from him, and so it all just kind of came going. One last thing, and this is the worst. God, I hate it when I'm an idiot, and that's a lot of times. So you might wonder, hey, why don't you do more of these weekend rages? The answer is incredibly easy. I am not the same dude that I was when I started doing these back on the old show. All right, I changed, and hopefully for the better. I work hard to not let silly things bother me, but sometimes they do, and my reaction when I lose my temper is something that I'm never proud of. Case in point, this Monday. I got super worked up about a guy who was poking fun at me in a totally harmless and not hateful way. I get frustrated when people try to cheat the winner system here, give different names to try to win something or win something within 30 days. So this poor dude calls on Monday, makes a joke to something in the effect of, I'll win as much as I want and you can't stop me. And then he hang up the phone. So of course, I get on the air. I do this absolutely idiotic break, a total waste of energy calling this guy out who was just trying to have fun. You know, like you're supposed to do on radio. So to Dave, or whatever your name is, you're getting the first apology in Weekend Rage history.
Oh,
I'm
how
making
about that?
progress. I'm making progress, but clearly I still have a ways to go. With all of this being said, if you have a temper, you got to work on it. Life is so much better when you're avoiding the insane and useless anger that you keep pent up. There's been very, 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 very few times in my life when my dumbass anger didn't get me into trouble. That wouldn't have been there otherwise. Trouble that wouldn't have been there otherwise. This Weekend Rage ends with me being a big dumbass, but I guess at least I admit it. There you go, everybody.
There you go. Donny Fandango's Weekend Rage.
Well done, man.
Yeah. Feel better?
Not really, man. I feel sweaty and fat.
Yeah, you sweat rolling off your nose. I love it, dude. I could have used you at Stan's Donuts, I tell you that. That coffee would have been complimentary.